G'day, it's Karim again from Toe to Toe Martial Arts on Does It Matter? What I wanted to talk to you today about is, why do we train? We predominantly, I think, we train for effectiveness, competency, expertise, because out of expertise, competency, spring self-esteem, pride, happiness, sense of safety and security. These are important features of being a well-adjusted and happy person. So the core of this kind of happiness is expertise. If you're an expert at doing beautiful katas and sort of wonderful, flowery, effective looking movements that look nice, you know, I've studied lots of karate and kung fu, a variety of different martial arts, some more effective than others. But I found that there was a differentiation. It's not a popular thing nowadays to, certainly not very PC to point out that some systems and some styles and some cultures, at least to me personally, seem better than others. But it also seems a Luddite anti-empiricism to do that. I mean, you'd have to be a moron not to think that some ways of producing things, some methodologies are better than others. Of course they are. Okay, there are methodologies replete throughout history that fail. Okay, there are martial arts that just don't work that well whenever they're tested. And this is the key point, whenever they're tested. So if your martial arts aren't providing platforms for testing against resisting, uncooperative and trained opponents, then you're building a sense of expertise and competency that is grossly disproportionate to the reality you're purporting to train for. If you're training to be effective as a martial artist, and you're training to be able to fight one or more opponents in given situations, you need to have tested your theory. I'm a big proponent of science and empiricism. It forms the foundation of most of my philosophical thinking. So I'm a big believer in testing if it works. Okay? Just as we should ask, does it matter? We should also ask, does it work? Okay? The questions are more important than the answers. The right question leads to the correct answers. And in this case, does what I do work? Am I effective? Am I actually going to be able to fight another human being effectively? Because if I can't fight them effectively, if I'm not going to be effective, then why am I doing this? Am I extending the competency and range of my ego at the cost of my actual skills? Traditional martial arts are more guilty of this than most, but you'll find, you know, there are modern martial arts like Systema, there are modern martial arts, there are kickboxing schools I've been to that were a joke. There were karate schools I went to that were ferocious, okay? Even kung fu schools that had modified and hybridized their training, very effective. Okay, so you can't apply a blanket statement to any one given style. I've trained with ITF and WTF Taekwondo guys that were hard to spar, very dangerous. If they hit you with their techniques, you're going to stay here. Okay, especially some of the heavier weight guys, very, very fast, very agile, somewhat narrow in their scope of techniques, but within the scope of their techniques, they were exceedingly dangerous. Same with boxing, same with a whole range of other martial arts, some more so than others. You need to be effective. So your martial art needs to have contact. You need to spar, you need to get hit, you need to hit, you need to grapple, you need to exert force on another human being and have that force resisted and then exerted back on you. This is a foundation of any effective martial art, building that competency that will make you actually grounded in reality. It will make the way you feel about yourself, the way you feel about your skills, grounded in a firm reality. That reality has to be based upon, can you deal with the pressure of actual contact? Can you deal with the pressure of people punching you, boxing you, crushing you, choking you, arm-barring you, attempting to exert their will in a physical and brutal way on you? And your training has to encompass that. If your training is highly stylised, if your training involves largely non-contact or very low contact sparring, if at all, or no sparring at all, worse still. If your training has limited or no amount of grappling, if your training relies upon the perfection of one particular stream of combat, making it so good that you can defeat all other forms and modes of combat, I'm here to tell you that you're living a dream, that you are deluded. All right? And I want to help you out of that delusion. It's a delusion. I trained as a purist in karate and judo for years. Loved them. Okay? Loved them. And I didn't train soft styles. I trained hard style karate and I trained judo where you do test some of your abilities quite firmly against each other. But even then, training with contact karate as well as non-contact karate, training with judo, I still felt short. When I ran into wrestlers, I was exposed. Cardio and in a whole range of other ways, okay? When I started training with kickboxers, I was exposed. I was an exceedingly good kicker and I was very fast and that helped me. But the kickboxing and Muay Thai components of my new training were overwhelming to say the least. You know, Karim got some beatings, lots of them, before he learned. But I did. I worked it out. I worked out what components of my traditional martial arts were effective. I worked out that many of them were not effective because they were buried in a substrate, a baseline of movement and methodology that was simply obsolete. Not wrong, but obsolete. If I was fighting another karate guy, I was effective. If I was just judo grappling with a guy, I was effective. But as soon as the guy went for a double leg, as soon as the guy started to box, knee, low kick, I was in trouble because I didn't do those things. I didn't know how to cope with them. So effective martial arts is not so much about picking the right style. You'll hear that fairly often on the internet. It goes into some Byzantine, tribalistic crap. No, it's not about picking the right style. It's about training where a variety of styles, a variety of techniques are taught to you that merge well. A really good gym is where you see not one style of fighting, but a variety of modes of fighting, where you see that people are not fighting identically, that some of them are fighting somewhat more one way than the other. Some are more mobile than others, others are more grapple orientated, so on and so on. That is a gym that is actually customizing the experience. That is a gym that is actually teaching people how to fight according to the attributes that their body has. We have limitations. Okay, I'm 6 foot tall, 110 kilos. I'm pretty stocky. All right, I'm never going to be an NBA player as much as I might have wanted to once. Okay, I'm never going to be a ballerina. Okay, there are hard physical parameters as to what I can achieve with my body. Okay, I'm good at fighting though. I'm good at grappling, punching, boxing on. Beautiful. Okay, and that's what I focus my skill set on. Okay.